Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can chant along with me. Om Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Vidhiyate. So Bhuvanesh, you want to just unmuted you? Shall we chant the question we are at?
Yeah.
Atma kaha
Atma kaha
Sthula Sukshma
Sthula Sukshma
Karana Sharirat
Karana Sharirat
Vyatiriktaha
Vyatiriktaha
Panchakoshatitaha San
Panchakoshatita San
Avasthatraya Sakshi
Avasthatraya Sakshi
Satchidananda Rupa San
Satchidananda Rupa San
Yas Tishtati
Yas Trishtati
Sa Atma.
Sa Atma.
Okay. So this is the question and answer that we are still at. Atma kaha. So last class we saw a little more about consciousness. And then we went back and we said there are three words to correct three mistaken notions about ourselves. So if you recall, we reviewed those three major notions. And we started by saying there are three major urges that human beings have. The first urge is, I want to live. I want to live a day more. Then that's not enough. I want to live happily. Second urge, I want to live happily. And I want to know. I can't stand being ignorant. At least in some areas that are dear to me. I can't stand when somebody says it's a secret, I will tell you later. So that shows that I have a love to know. So these three urges, I want to live, I want to be happy, and I want to know, comes from three conclusions. First conclusion is I am a mortal. I have concluded that, and everybody has confirmed that also. So I am a mortal. Of course, the body is a mortal. So therefore, I must be a mortal. I am a mortal. I am unhappy. I am constantly subject to unhappiness. Therefore, I want to be happy. And I am ignorant. Therefore, I want to know. So these are the three conclusions I have made about myself, three major notions, which is what we are analyzing. And we know that if this I is a mortal, and if that is Satyam, if that is true, then there is no solution to this problem of mortality, sadness, etc. There is no solution. Because that's the way it is. We all know that. So there is no need for a Shastram. And we also reviewed these other marketplace religions which confirm my conclusions and don't extend beyond that. The only thing they offer is a place beyond earth, a place which is left to our imagination, where they say that I can live happily ever after. And it gets confirmed by all these stories in English we have read. And they lived happily ever after. Have you all heard that? And now I'm recalling all the stories we studied. And they lived happily ever after. So I will unmute a couple of you just so I can get some feedback. So everybody wants to live happily, at least if not now, afterwards. At least not in this body, I can't live. And but I will live happily ever after, sometime later. Good. So we saw all this last time. And the point we must make that I did not make last time is when we saw the differences between this Sanatana Dharma and every other Abrahamic religion, I must say, non-dharmic religion, non-native dharma, because I find that these native people everywhere are fine. They seem to connect with nature and they don't consider nature to be, they don't consider nature to be different from themselves. And so that's why I'm saying Abrahamic religions. So being so different, now we can see why. We can't use the word God for Ishvara, because Ishvara is all pervasive. And at the end, they are going to say Ishvara and Jiva are essentially identical. Where is the connection between that Ishvara and God who is located at a particular place? And a God, where is the connection between that God who has made a judgment about myself versus a God who says, Maya Nagha, Krishna tells Arjuna, a sinless, Arjuna is told, and here the God is saying, hey, you who are a sinner. So where is the question of equating moksha with salvation? I have to be salvaged from sin versus I have to discover my divinity discover my Purnatvam. Look at that. So we can see how these two religions, even I am so shy of using the word religion for Sanatana Dharma, that they're so different that we can't use these English words. That is why any books that mention these words are not doing a service to us, which Swamiji does. Swamiji has been highlighting for a long time. I'm merely repeating those important learnings. Okay, so we saw all that. So we'll continue the discussion further. We are in the process of discerning what is real. So many things are there to observe, to sense, and we are trying to see what is real. And we even saw some time ago that even the word real is not, has to be put in quotes all the time. Because there is no word equivalent to mithya in English. Mithya is also real. What is absolutely existent is also real. We don't have a separate word called Satyam. Therefore, Satyam and Mithya, we need to hold on to these two. When we talk about Vedanta. Okay. So, are my conclusions about myself and this world real? It is a question we are asking. And if they are real, there is no solution. Then perhaps the solution is out there. And out there, at least I can be happy after my life, after this life, if I say. And so Swamiji tells a nice joke here. So there is in Delhi, there is a very famous Kathakar, Bhagavata Purana. He teaches very well. And a lot of people come to his talks. And then there is, so he gives all these talks and then he gets old and then he passes away. So then he goes to heaven, of course. Where will they go? So he goes to heaven, Vaikuntha, and he has a big building there, and so happy he is. Finally, I've come to heaven. And all the work I did, all the kathas I've given, and how many people I've helped. So God has been very kind to me. And he looks around and he looks at his neighbor. He comes out in the morning and says, wow, nice place. And he looks at his neighbor, and neighbor's house is, my God, it is 3 times bigger than my house. So he must have done. What kind of punya he must have gained? My God, I wish I want to meet him. So he knocks on the door and he meets that person. And he looks at him and he's shocked. He's shocked because, hey, I know you. Aren't you that Fatwatwala? In the Fatwatwala means, this Delhi auto rickshaw.
Oh.
Delhi auto rickshaw wala. Hey, you used to live there, right there, I know you. And you are here? And this man is furious. This Fatwatwala hasn't even uttered one Ishvara, one Rama, he doesn't know Krishna. What did he do? He doesn't know any shloka. And this guy is here. And he's so furious. And so he goes to God. God and all you can meet. No, in heaven, I think you know that. In heaven we can meet God, right? I don't have to tell you all these things. So he got an audience with God. So he goes to God. And God, this is unfair. Said, come on, what happened? What happened? Yeah, see, this guy is, what is this? The Tattvabodha is there. He's got a big house. Yeah, he's got a big house. I've been doing all these kathas and I thought I did so much punyam and this guy did nothing and he gets this big reward. God says, hold on. Don't be so upset. Yeah, you did your Bhagavad Katha you had a lot of bhakti and with a lot of joy you said all these things. But who are coming to your classes? All these people who are all retired and the young people, I didn't see any young people there. So all retired people, they didn't have anything to do. So they're all sitting in these classes. Okay, and half of them were sleeping. You know that in your classes. And anyway, all this Ramayana and all, it doesn't matter when you wake up, when you sleep, because whenever you wake up, Rama is still in the forest only. So nobody misses anything also. And they come and they do namaskar and go away. Now look at this Tattvabodha. Everybody is scared of this Tattvabodha when he comes. And this guy especially used to go all over the road, left side, right side, everywhere he's there. And so everybody used to say, hey Ram, humko bachao. Hey Krishna, humko bachao. Devi, please protect me. Where are you? This guy is coming. So he created so much bhakti in so many people. Tell me now, who should get a bigger place in heaven? So Tattvabodha deserves this place. Is it not? So look at this. The joke of this whole thing is, I go to heaven to be happy, but I am furious in heaven. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
I am furious. I am jealous. All these things coming along with me. I thought I gave up all these things in earth, but even in heaven, I've got all these feelings just coming package. Like a package, it's all coming. So this kind of heaven, when also this Taratamya will be there. Taratamya means what? All this. My mind is always working the same way there also. It can't work differently. Comparison will always be there. So, of course, that is a joke and it is possible because I know who I am. But we know that whatever heaven may talk about, if something begins, that is mithya. It can't be satyam. And the mithya me goes to a mithya heaven and has all these feelings which are all mithya. And that is how heaven also is going to be. And there also they say Indra, if I go to Indra Loka, Indra is going to be jealous of me if I have accomplished something big. Like all these kings that we hear who have done Vishwadit Yaga and Ashwamedha Yaga, because they want to get a padavi, a status which is bigger than what they are doing. So Indra is also jealous of many human beings who are all about to compete with Indra. So there also competition is there. Okay. So this heaven idea has to be given up completely. And so I must look into what is Satyam. So we saw that in every cognition, in every knowledge, there is consciousness. Nobody can touch that. This consciousness is there. And the consciousness that illumines everything, every perception, every object of thought. is illumined by consciousness. That consciousness has to be self-evident. We saw that. Every object becomes evident to me, and I am the self-evident consciousness. That consciousness cannot be displaced by any thought, displaced by any object. We saw that. That consciousness I love, so now I love so much. I want to see that consciousness. I want to feel that consciousness. You know, a lot of people are feeling people. You know, before I knew about these things, you know, yoga classes used to happen, and you know, many people you meet doing yoga religiously, going to all these classes, and only when I studied Vedanta, I realized suddenly one person came, and the language was so different, and they were talking about, oh, did you feel that, and did you feel this, and when you do yoga, and feeling. Then I realized how that the certain schools make you just go after this feeling. Feelings are so important, no doubt, but they are going after some feeling, some experience. Then I realized how this world is after some experience. So we saw this consciousness. Hey, you can't feel consciousness because consciousness is there in every feeling. Consciousness is what makes me feel. So that consciousness cannot be objectified. That consciousness is I. Now, so there is some feedback. Okay. So who am I? Am I ignorant or am I consciousness? If I ask, this ignorance, we have to look into it as little more. If I say I am ignorant, then we have to ask, I am ignorant of what? So I am ignorant of something that I don't know. It is always with respect to something I can be ignorant. I am ignorant about something I don't know. I am ignorant about cardiology. But even in that statement, when I say I am ignorant about cardiology, I know so much because I know that there is something called cardiology. I know that it is about the heart. I could make a statement, I am ignorant of cardiology. I know the English language. I know English grammar. I did not say I am ignorance of cardiology. I am ignoranty of cardiology. I am ignoree of cardiology. I am ignored of cardiology. All this I didn't say. So much grammar I know. See, I am an expert in English grammar. So much I know. So much knowledge is revealed when I make a statement, I am ignorant of cardiology. So, therefore, I can say this ignorance is also visible to me very much, and that ignorance is an object of my knowledge. And we saw that I cannot place I in an object of my knowledge because I am the knower. I am the knower. I can't place the I on an object, even though that object is a thought in my mind. And so, when I say I am knowledgeable, I cannot escape the conclusion that I am ignorant. Ignorance and knowledge go together. And so we have to understand all these statements we make about ourselves. So when I say I am ignorant about something, then we can say, okay, ignorance is a point of view, Jaykumarji. It's a point of view. Just a point of view. With respect to something, I am ignorant. Good. That means when we say point of view, the view must be clear in order to say something is a point of view. Correct?
Yeah.
The view must be clear. The whole view must be clear in order to say it's a point of view. So if I show you this object, you are trying to find out, wait a minute, what is this? But I show it to you a little more. Then some of you may have recognized what it is. Then I show it to you completely. I turn it around and now you can see the complete view of this object, the three-dimensional view you got. So initially when I showed you like this, you are trying to guess what it is, furiously trying to guess. But now you know all about this object. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, clock. Correct. So therefore this is just a point of view. So if somebody says, what is this black square thing you're looking at? You can now very clearly say what it is. You can say it is the backside of this clock. Point of view. It's just one view of this clock. So this whole view must be clear. Whenever we talk about all these, whenever we talk in general also, that is true. So I am reminded of these blind people describing an elephant. Very famous example the Shastra gives. So they're all saying, I know the elephant. Hey, what is the elephant? The elephant is a big pillar. One blind person says. Another blind person says the elephant is a rope. It's a rope with a lot of fiber at the end. Another blind person says the elephant is a thick tube. This is all they can say. So, how much can you take this? Are they right? Are they wrong? Are they somewhat right? What do you say to these things, these conclusions? We can only say, okay, this is some point of view you have, but you don't even have a view. And so we can't even say it's a point of view. It is a distortion of truth. It's a complete distortion. So a point of view is actually a distortion if the view is not clear. Correct? The view is not clear. So here are some paintings. A few days ago, I got in WhatsApp, somebody sent me some paintings. Paintings of somebody called Shashikant Dhotre. I don't know how many of you have heard him or seen those pictures, paintings. And you should see it, Shashikant Dhotre, Google. And my God, he's sketching, he's color painting. I mean, color sketching with color pencil, he's drawing. And the paintings, he's drawing paintings of traditional women dressed in traditional sari and all. And two ladies are sitting like in olden days, they are grinding. You know, olden days, they used to have these stones, remember?
Yeah.
Two circular stones, and they put the grain in the middle and they grind like this. Correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So we saw all these things in our villages. And he draws that, and the way their ladies are sitting with their legs like this and clad in saris and pouring the grain and the powder coming out, and it looks like a photograph. It looks like a photograph. And one picture after the other, he's taken, he's done, he's drawn. So there is a museum now with all these paintings, and people are watching. And this family has come to see this museum because they've heard so much about Shashikant Dhotre. And he's an awardee. He's like a Maharashtrian of the Year award he got a couple of years ago. And so he's apparently a very famous person, and he should be. And this family has come. Father, mother, and daughter have come to the museum, and they're looking at these paintings. And they see the painting. They stop. And the daughter is saying, small young daughter, Amma, I want bananas, because she saw some bananas in the painting. And this man is also looking at the painting or this drawing, and he's looking at the canvas and he's touching it, saying, oh, this doesn't look like cotton. Oh, what kind of drawing paper it is? It must be. It seems like a dried some kind of cotton paper. I thought it was cloth, but it is not cloth. Like this, he's talking. And the mother here is standing mesmerized at this painting and just cannot believe her eyes. And she's in all awe looking at this. She's thinking about the painter, about the artist. She's thinking about those hands that drew this. All that she's doing, and these two people have no such idea. One fellow is caught up in the quality of the paper. Another girl is wanting the bananas in the painting. So look at this, 3 different views. Who has the full view of this beautiful painting? As who has appreciated the artist? So even in such a simple thing, how many people really understand what we really see out there? And so the point of view is acceptable if the view is clear. That is the point we are trying to make. And so the question here is, what is the view? What is the view? So, nothing wrong in saying I am ignorant. Don't get me wrong, please. I would like to know. Nothing wrong in all these things. Because we are referring to the mind which has its own limitations. And when we communicate, we say so many things. What is this? What is that? I made a mistake. I'm foolish. We say all these things. Nothing wrong in all that. Those are all transactions. But the view has to be clear. So nothing wrong in saying the sun is rising at 6:13 a.m. The sun will set at 5:53 p.m. Nothing wrong in saying that, as long as the view is clear, that facts are clear. So we need to inquire a little more about what this Atma is. We are claiming that Atma is not mortal. Atma is the truth of time. So we need to look at this concept of time a little bit. So time is something we take for granted. Time is given. The growing child doesn't understand time. The 1-year-old child doesn't understand time. You ask the child, what did you have? What did you eat? Even yesterday, the words like yesterday, tomorrow, all this it doesn't understand. Correct?
Correct.
It takes a while. It takes a couple of years for the child to actually grasp the concept of time. Because for the child, everything is now. Everything is present. Now, you and I are talking and she is alive to the now. They talk about present moment these days. Big mantra, be in the present, they say. Must be in the present. What is this? You're all, what hangover? You have a big hangover. You're all living in the past, you know. So big mantra. And so that time is such an interesting concept. We say that every object is bound by time, even though this object actually shows the time. That is very interesting. But that is besides the point. Every object is bound by time. We say that. What is the meaning of that? That means every object is born in time. Every object is born. And when we say born, we are referring to time. Time is implied. Time is implied because there was a time when the object was not, the object was not, the object was not, the object was not. Now the object is born. And the object exists, the object exists, object exists. And there will be a time when the object ceases to exist as you know it. Correct?
Correct.
Birth is there, death is there. But then, what about the object when it was existing? There also the object is subject to change all the time. Best example is our body. We say, I was born so-and-so date in 1960 or 70 or 50. We proudly give a date. That means what? I was born then and I am, that same I is here today. But we all know very well it is really not the same I. This I has changed so much. And the body keeps changing. The object that we are referring to is constantly changing. The change is very obvious in a body like this. But the change may not be obvious in some objects which seem to have the same shape and same color for a long time. Correct?
Correct.
But even this object is changing all the time. Because its form, it's the way it's functioning is changing. Its gears are wearing away. The battery is draining. And the colors are fading away. Even though that fading is not perceptible to my eyes. Some parts of the clock have faded. After some time you can see. The fading is not sudden. But after a while you see, oh, okay, this thing is looking a little different. That shows the object is changing constantly. Atoms and molecules from this object are falling apart. They are just dropping. Every time I touch, more plastic molecules are touching my fingers. A part of that object is there in my finger right now. But we don't look at it that way. So this object is changing constantly. Every object changes constantly. So this is what we say, every object is subject to time. It is our Shastra's way of saying Kala Bhakshaha. And Krishna, you ask Krishna, who are you? Oh, hey Krishna, who are you? You know what Krishna says? He says, Kalo Hyaham. I am time. That is the way he answers the question. Correct?
Yeah.
I'm time? What is this? I'm time means what? And you ask Rama, who are you? Aham Ramaha. Dasharatha Atmajaha. I'm the son of Dasharatha. Very humbly, Rama says, I'm Dasharatha Atmajaha. But Krishna is, I'm time, he says. And then he walked me, and then he laughed. We should imagine all these things. So, I am time means what? I am the content of time. I am the one who makes time happen. In deep sleep, there is no time. And when I wake up, time just comes back to me. And so we need to analyze this time concept a little bit more. Past, present, future. This is the way we understand time. So if I ask you to think about the past, your last birthday, just imagine, go back to your last birthday, if I say. Some of you might say, yeah, I can remember the last birthday party that I was there in. There was a surprise that was given. And this surprise thing is the surprise birthday party. There are so many surprise birthday parties that is no longer a surprise. Yeah, one day it was a surprise. I was so pleasantly surprised. I was so happy. But now it is almost sure that something is happening. I just have to figure out how the surprise is going to come. When the surprise is going to come, that is my only surprise. The birthday party is not a surprise. So go back and think about your past birthday. Go back and think about the last New Year's Eve. What did you do? Go back and think about the last time you went to the big temple, Chidambaram, or Mahalakshmi temple in Mumbai, or the Vaishno Devi in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. Think about that last trip you had. I can remember that. So I think about the past. Do you think about the past in the past or in the present? Now, of course, I think about the past in the present only. Think about something in the future. A trip you're planning to see your children or your parents because they are away from you right now. And you're eagerly planning to go and think about that future. Think about the future. Think about the next elections in India. A lot of talk about that in India. 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Think about the future. Do you think about the future now or in the future? Of course, I think about it now. Right now,
That's right.
I'm aware of the future. There is future consciousness. So this now becomes important. The present becomes important for us to look into. In other words, a good understanding of time can be gained when we understand the present, when we understand now. What is now? When we say present, what do we mean? My understanding of now, does it involve a length of time? That is a question we're asking now. My understanding of now, does it involve a particular length of time? What is this length of time? Okay, the present millennium, if I say present millennium, means what? This years from 2000 to 3000 is the present millennium. So is the present millennium, what is it, the second millennium or the third millennium? If I ask you, what will you say? You have to say, it is the third millennium, correct? If you say second millennium, then you have to give it a second thought, I should say. Because it is not the second millennium, it is the third millennium. So the present millennium. Hey, millennium is 1000 years. You're saying it is present millennium? Present? Is millennium present? No, millennium is too huge. I can't even visualize it. So, okay, present century, that I can handle, present century. But present century is what? 2018, there is 82 more years in the present century, and I am not going to be alive by the end of this century. I am not going to be there. And so present century, it's awkward to call it present. Yeah, in a matter of speaking, you can say present century. But the present century is not now, doesn't look right. So present year, present month, current week. Current week I can handle. But I am worried about today right now. And even today there is so much future left. After the class is over, I have so many things to do. And I have a plans for today. So, okay, today, nowadays, present day, present hour, present minute. Can we call the present minute as now? We can't call the present minute as now. And because there are so many seconds in the present minute. And sometimes the wait for a minute is so long. Correct?
That's
Minutes waits. I saw a cartoon which said, how long a minute is depends on which side of the door you're standing. Did you all understand that? How long a minute is depends on which side of the closed door you're standing. So this toilet is such an important thing. And so that's when we know how long a minute is. So don't take a minute for granted. My goodness, they say don't waste a minute. So now I can appreciate why the minute is important. So minute is too long. So the second perhaps, no, second also there is a length, finite length is there. So second and millisecond, microsecond. These days, thanks to these digital clocks, I'm becoming aware of all this 1/100th of a second and all that. And the stopwatch is just keeps going. And so it makes me aware that there are so many little things in a second. So we are beginning to see that even by dividing time so much, I really cannot come to the present. Because however much I divide time, that time is going to have a length, however small it is, however difficult it is to perceive that smallness of that length of time. It is still going to have a length, and that length cannot be now. And I can only say that I am aware of that length of time. And at some point, that length vanishes. That awareness of length vanishes, which leaves me only with consciousness. And only that remains. And that consciousness is the content of time. That when I say now, when we say present moment also can be sometimes give an indication of a length of time. But that now, that present is what we are talking about as consciousness. So this time consciousness, my consciousness of past, present and future, is brought down to now consciousness. This consciousness of a lengthless time, of a time that has no length, and that is now. And Shastram uses the word Sat for that, now. Shastram uses the word Sat as the content of time, as that which is not bound by time, which is what gives sustenance to time, my idea of time. So Sat is that which gives content, which gives sustenance to time itself. Okay. Earlier we said consciousness which is invariable. In all our cognitions, there is apple consciousness, there is bed consciousness, there is light consciousness, there is sun and moon consciousness. But that consciousness is that I am is invariable. It cannot be displaced. We saw that. It cannot be displaced by any object, however big that object is. Even the massive Jupiter cannot replace consciousness. And that self-evident, that consciousness is self-evident, and to which everything else becomes evident at any given time. Even that time becomes evident to me. And we saw that that is Chit. And this Sat and Chit, Sat has to be Chit. If Sat is not Chit, then we have a problem, because we have a consciousness on the one hand that is self-evident. And then we have a present, we have now, which is different from consciousness, which sustains time and all objects. And what sustains my cognitions and what sustains time are different. Then we have to ask the question, these two are independent things. If you say that can't be possible, what is it that sustains both of these things? Both of them will become mithya. So the Sat has to be Chit. And this Satyam, this Sat and Chit, na udeti, it can't rise. Na astam eti, it can't fall, it can't set like the sun sets, sun rises and sun sets. Na vridhim yati, it can't grow. That is the nature of Sat and Chit. It always is. And so this Sat that we have recognized today, now the content of time, many ways to analyze it, but this is one way to analyze. This Sat, Shastram uses the word, and here Tattvabodha uses the word Sat, that present, that now, that which exists, that which is self-existing, that which is self-evident, that consciousness is I, is Atma. Atma is Sat, Atma is Chit. So if we can begin to appreciate that, sometimes it takes a while to appreciate that we understand. Then we can see that I am a mortal, is a wrong conclusion. Body is mortal. See, my problem is not that the body is mortal. Look at that. My problem is not that the body is mortal. Hey, the body, let it be. My problem is I am mortal. The problem is I am mortal. That is my problem. Body is lean. Not the problem for me. Not a problem at all. I am lean. Big problem. I am sick. Big problem. Yes, it is a problem. So therefore, it is important for us to understand this I properly. Once I appreciate what I is and the nature of I as Sat and Chit, then I can happily sport any body. I can happily sport any mind. I can happily sport these senses in the awareness that the body is mithya. The body, of course, is subject to time. I am the one that is not bound by time. Like that, we begin to gain some appreciation. So, we'll stop the class now. So, we began to appreciate Sat by analyzing time, Kala. And we equated Sat and Chit. So the job of Vedanta is actually not only to introduce words which can give us the idea of Satyam, but also remove any barriers there are, any baggage that might come along with the word. Okay? A word may have many meanings. Then we have to say, no, that's not the meaning. Like I use the word present. Present, I use the word. Present means what? In the context of time, present means now. Present something, present minute, present hour, present year, present whatever, present. But present also can mean many things. Last birthday I said, oh yeah, I got a lot of presents. My son presented me this. My daughter presented me that. All present. That is a different present. That has nothing to do with the present moment. So present, when we use a word, we have to remove all the meanings that are not applicable. So last time consciousness, when we said consciousness, there is all this environmental consciousness. Suppose somebody says, is that the consciousness you're talking about? No, we're not talking about that consciousness. Consciousness of environmental consciousness. That consciousness is what we are talking about. So, Sat Chit. So we are trying to discern what is real, what is Satyam. Discerning. Discern is another good word in English I like. D-I-S-C-E-R-N. Discern. It's an interesting word. Some of you may not be that familiar. Discern means if I give you a bowl of milk, you must be able to discern whether this is milk without water or milk with a lot of water in it. Correct? Only some eyes can see that without drinking it. Nah, you put some water in it and make some tea and you say, oh my God, this is like water. That's too late. That is too late. So that is called discerning, and we are trying to discern what is real. Okay. So I'm going to pause here now. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhaved Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om